Bueno.
Resident Evil heroes and bioweapons. I'm now happy to announce that Resident Evil RE-verse will go live.
Empezaron mostrando algo de Village que no llegué a verlo bien, pero algo de Village. No, es una forma de decir compren los jueguitos.
Thank you, Kanda-san, for that wonderful update. Next up, some long-awaited news from the world of Monster Hunter. Whether it's adventuring alongside monsters or battling them with friends, we've got something for you. First, let's dive into the brand new story-based RPG entry to the series, Monster Hunter Stories 2: Wings of Ruin.
Switch.
This was his fate. Red may have been strong and skilled, but against the awesome power of nature, he was merely a man. He never stood a chance.
All around, things just kept getting worse.
¿Se está viendo como el orto o soy yo?
That Guardian Ratha had survived and
Como el orto.
returned.
Historia, Y me resuena, pero no me acuerdo qué es.
Then, of course, that's when I met you.
You were given Red's kinship stone, and now.
A ver, esto no es Monster Hunter.
This is destiny.
Podría, ¿no? Pero no es. Porque evidentemente si no, no tendría tanta desarrollo de personaje.
The monster with the wings of ruin. It's said that a beat of its wings can bring about waves of destruction.
Encima los personajes nunca son así de animados.
The pits are appearing everywhere, and they're emitting a strange light.
Funciona muy parecido a Monster Hunter igual, ¿no?
What's this whole idea of forming kinship with monsters? How do you control them?
It's not about control. Monsters help riders of their own will. And the bonds between monsters and riders are just like your bond with Tsukino.
What kind of power does Ratha really have? Why are all of these pits appearing? And who are those people who want to take Ratha for themselves? All I have are questions.
If there's worry or doubt in your voice, Ratha will become anxious too. He needs to know that you will protect him no matter what.
I can sense the flames of his life force weakening. The burden of such great power is too much for his body to bear.
A voice. Can you hear it?
Riders can bond with monsters. Surely you can groove with fellow humans.
They have the power of kinship. They're friends. They're monsties. Humans carry the strength of everyone they meet. That makes them strong. My friends here taught me that. I believe in the strength of humanity.
¿Qué es? A ver. Monster Hunter Stories. Es verdad. Me olvidé de la saga de Stories. Está bien. Era muy Monster Hunter, viste como lo dije, exceptuando que los personajes no me sonaban tan así animados. Pero bueno. ¿Y esto? Y la saga Monster Hunter me gusta. Más la principal, ¿no? No la de Stories, pero me copa. ¿Ves? Monster Hunter Rise, no sé, no lo jugué todavía porque... Nada. Que Carelli.
Looks pretty epic, right? And how about that announcement? The canine companion Palamute from Monster Hunter Rise will be joining Monster Hunter Stories 2 as one of the new monsties in the first free title update coming soon after the game's release. You can get an early peek at the game with the Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin trial version starting on June 25th, which also carries your progress over to the full game release just a few weeks later on July 9th. That's not the only way to join the hunt. Millions of you made Monster Hunter Rise a huge success earlier this year, and we have even more content coming, including a new collaboration on the Rise. Let's find out more.
Let's go! This is for my fellow hunters!
Una nueva actualización, ¿no?
Is no runt. Moon's blessing emerge. Get ready. I have a good feeling. What will it be?
Ahora vas a poder tener las mascotitas. ¿Qué más? Ah, el skin del bochín este. Una actualización en la casa para tener las monturas, no, las monturas, los skins y esas boludeces. Sí, que era un fachero el nuevo ese, ¿no? My God.
Like my second home.
You think you can take on Rondine?
4 de junio. Versión 3.1 ya para Rise.
There has never been a better time to be a Monster Hunter fan, with all the new updates to Monster Hunter Rise and the launch of Monster Hunter Stories 2 this summer. We can't wait to hear about your own stories of adventure. Well, that's not the only thing Capcom has in store for us this July. Fans of Phoenix Wright will have new chapters to explore with the release of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. North American and European future attorneys will finally be able to get their hands on the Great Ace Attorney Adventures and the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, which were previously only available in Japan. You'll travel back in time to the late 19th century Japan and London to play as Ryunosuke Naruhodo, Phoenix Wright's ancestor, in this action-packed prequel. Now, let's hear more about the story.
So then, let us unravel this mystery.
Welcome to the center of the world. Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
This country is incredible. I will become a lawyer. I have to.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Who are you? Herlock Sholmes. You must have heard of me.
We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san.
Let us engage in the art of deduction, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, what have we here? It would seem the truth is now.
Para la gente que le gusta Sholmes.
The defense demands its right to a
En vez de Holmes, por favor.
Objection. Your testimony completely contradicts the facts.
Objection! My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage!
What the fuck. A mí no me gustan las que son así de ¿cómo se llama? Ahí tiene un nombre, no me acuerdo. Esta es de abogados. No me...
mini escapades where you can take on the role of a defense attorney. Now, we all want to see some gameplay, right? Let's take a closer first look at 2 gameplay features new to the franchise in the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles: Dance of Deduction and Summation Examination.
Gameplay de esto, boludo, no lo puedo creer.
Hello, I'm Jonathan, Capcom's marketing brand manager for the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
Where to?
The Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
The Capcom team is thrilled to present 2 new gameplay features, Dance of Deduction and Summation Examination, coming to the Ace Attorney series.
While investigating to prove your client's innocence, players will come across conspicuous situations that require further examination with the help of reinforced legal aid Susato and the brilliance of deduction from Detective Herlock.
Igual que sabíamos que iba a ser una barratada, ¿no? El de Capcom.
Herlock will proceed to present his logic and reasoning spectacular, a grandiose yet flawed series of conjectures.
Ryunosuke and Susato will then discuss to correct the flaws in Herlock's deductions. At this point, players will be prompted to search for clues that help identify the errors in the detective's logic and reveal the truth to the mystery.
Me podría haber preparado un café o lo que fuera.
As players present new evidence and observations, Herlock will amend his deductions based on the new information. Upon uncovering the truth, Ryunosuke and Herlock enter into a semi-metaphorical, semi-literal dance that brings them to the conclusion of the dance of deduction.
Chima, ¿por qué para todo tienen que estar chasqueando los dedos, no? Encima de paso también se bajó de peso de pronto, ¿no? Elemental.
In courtroom battles, players will attempt to convince 6 jurors of the innocence of their client. Their progress will be displayed and represented by 2 scales of justice, one black, representing a guilty verdict, and one white, representing a not guilty verdict.
Objection!
In summation examination, take the stand to face off against the jurors, all of whom provide explanations as to why they've reached their guilty verdict.
You'll have to identify conflicting statements and sway the jury in your favor. Examine each statement carefully and select 2 contradicting jurors to call out the flaws in their logic.
Objection!
Be ready to provide evidence from the court record to help prove the contradiction in their claims. When you successfully point out one of these contradictions among the jurors, you might just change their minds, too. With a slam of their fist, each juror you persuade will send a fiery ball towards the scales above and literally tip the scales of justice in your favor. Bring each contradiction to light and persuade the jury to help prove your client's innocence.
Objection! My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage!
This has just been a small taste of the exciting new gameplay features in the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We are very excited to get this game in the hands of
Ay,
fans.
¿me mostrás otra cosa? ¿Hace cuánto estamos ya con esto?
Thanks for watching.
Como 7 minutos, 8.
It already seems like I have a bunch of games to catch up on. There are some exciting new adventures and titles to look forward to. Well, that's a look at the new premieres from Capcom, but what about esports? Let's close out today's showcase with a few words from 2 of the stars of Capcom Fighters, Rob TV and Vicious. They'll tell us what's been going on with Capcom esports, including updates on the Capcom Pro Tour, Intel World Open, Street Fighter League, and all the other content on Capcom Fighters.
Es una competencia para Street Fighter, pero una que otra cosa más que tenga de lucha. Capcom. Siempre la publicita.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Capcom esports presentation for E3 2021. My name is Vicious, commentator for the Capcom Pro Tour as well as Street Fighter League, here with competitive Street Fighter V player and host extraordinaire, Hollywood, Rob TV. What's going on, Rob?
Oh my goodness, Vicious. Host extraordinaire. That just sounds beautiful. It has a ring to it, and I think that's the perfect word to describe what we have for everyone today. Street Fighter V, Capcom E3, it just feels right and you feel the electricity in the air. Nice!
A mí el Detect tuvo, lo único que... No sé, ¿qué onda? Hasta ahora los dos de ahora... Cuando límite como este, una garretada.
And we try to bring our opponent's life bar from 100 all the way down to 0 and feel pretty goddamn good doing it.
That's right, Rob. If you think you're the best in your region, sign up for Capcom Pro Tour to prove it and become possibly a world champion at Street Fighter V.
The double perfect, the way he looked at the camera like...
Don't ever expect another man controlling.
So in this year's CPT overall, it's a series of tournaments that have $5,000 on the line for each tournament. But that money alone, that's not what's really at stake here. It's about making it to the granddaddy of them all, Capcom Cup.
¿Cómo la vivís? La reviven, boludo.
So behind me, you can see in all of its glory, the Capcom Pro Tour 2021 official stage is set, and that's a place that you are very, very familiar with.
That's right, we take all of our events and broadcast it live from this stage, and we check out all of the top competitors from each and every one of these.
Bastante estadounidense, yo pensé que eran más japos, o chinos, ¿viste? Coreanos, no, hay un montón de estadounidenses que juegan Street Fighter competitivo.
So there's so many opportunities for players from around the world to get that ticket into Capcom Cup this season. I'm absolutely excited because, again, that is a big change from what 2020 was into what we could expect for 2021.
And Mago is your first qualifier for Japan for the Capcom Pro Tour.
Not only can you catch the Capcom Pro Tour live on the Capcom Fighters channel, you can do so on a plethora of platforms. We have it on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Of course, if you don't catch it live, you can also check out the VODs for all the competitive studying you would need to become a successful Street Fighter.
¿Tampoco duran las batallas? ¿Entre 10 y 20 minutos nada más? Rapidísimo juegan, o sea, te perdés un segundo y perdiste todo lo que tienes para ver.
We take players from around the world and play off in an exhibition first to 10. Not only that, actually, we do have Street Fighter League that's happened season after season, non-stop action, 6 teams of 3 duke it out in this battle tournament series to see who will walk away with the championship and the $150,000 prize pool.
Street Fighter League is something that you don't want to miss because normally we only have 1v1 content, but now you actually have your teammates at your back and every decision that you make is not just about you anymore.
Look for more news on Street Fighter League later this year. It's Oki time. What's gonna happen?
Nice.
He checks it. He checks the movement. What's happening?
It's so good.
Let's not forget, the Intel World Opening is happening right now.
Intel World Open, bueno, sí, igual que la
11 regions
de
around the world are
la
competing
Intel
for
Steam
their
Master.
place in the World Finals happening next month. Be sure to check out the official website for more information, including current standings and broadcast schedule.
To commemorate this event, everyone who logged in during this period will receive an exclusive competitor title and dojo object. You do not want to miss this.
I highly recommend everyone to stay tuned for future Capcom Pro Tour updates on the Capcom Fighters channel.
And again, we've had so many events so far. We started off with the Japan.
20
We've
minutos.
had a couple of more events going on afterwards, but the action does
Y
not stop. In fact, we're going to be continuing off with the Midwest region for the Capcom
Una
Pro
cosa
Tour. I know
sola.
you're definitely excited about that.
100%.
¿No? De 4 que mostraron, una sola anunciaron. Porque también mostraron un poco de lo de Resident Evil. Resident Evil Village con una cosa ahí del Reforge. Pero después tenemos, está bien, el Stories 2, que está bien, bueno, sí es un anuncio Stories 2, pero al lado del Rise no creo que tenga grandes cosas. Metieron el The Great Ice, no sé cuánto, el de los abogados, que está bien, tiene un gran nicho me parece, pero bastante, por acá por lo menos bastante inútil, es más en Japón. Y ahora están hablando un poco de el Pro Tour de Capcom.
Thanks,
Tornito,
guys.
pero
It's been a really exciting season so far, and I can't wait to see how this plays out on the road to Capcom Cup. Remember to check out Capcom Fighters' Twitch and YouTube channels for more information and to watch the latest matches. So that's a wrap for Capcom at E3 this year. Let's recap what we all saw. Resident Evil Village is back with the latest installment of the survival horror experience and RE-verse as part of the franchise's 25th anniversary. We have new adventures to embark on in the world of Monster Hunter with Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, and Monster Hunter Rise. And don't forget to go back in time with the great Ace Attorney Chronicles to tap into the family history of Phoenix Wright and solve new cases. Finally, don't miss out on the esports fun. Make sure you catch the latest matches with Capcom Fighters. There really is something for everyone here today. But don't go anywhere yet. Join the conversation on Twitter and make sure you check out the Capcom virtual booth on the E3 portal to watch all these videos again and more. I'm Rachel Querico, aka Seltzer. Thank you for being part of the Capcom experience at E3 this year.
es el más corto del E3 hasta ahora. 23 minutos vamos. No, perdón, sí, 23 minutos de video, pero yo entré 2 minutos más tarde. ¿Qué pasó, Capcom, que te caíste a pedazo? A pedazo, Capcom, Oh my god. SF5, ¿qué es SF5? Me perdí.
Welcome back, and that is a wrap on Capcom's presentation. I thought that rhymed for a second. And
No,
I was gonna go that
Street Fighter 5.
I love seeing the wheel. I saw the gears like.
No, es que ni siquiera lo presentaron.
I was like, that
El Street Fighter 5, o sea...
It's just,
Estaban hablando del Pro Tour, nada más.
just feeling it, folks. I'm
No
feeling
dijeron
it,
nada
yeah.
de Street Fighter.
Not gonna lie though,
Más
that
que
certainly
el
got me
torneito
amped.
ese.
We saw a lot of great titles
Bueno,
there,
esto es
and
todo
we're gonna
por
go
Capcom.
into more depth about